Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom. Getting all our...
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. It's good to hear everyone's voices.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I feel, Jan.
I thought it was on mute. That's funny.
No, it's like,
Really? Well, Rabbi is so good at getting us to do that. I'm doing
Oh my
it
goodness, my
automatic.
ego.
well, it's
Janice,
true.
you're making my ego go through the roof. We're going to have all these roof repairs we'll need to do. My goodness.
Take a
So
deep
that actually inspires me. Good idea. Great idea. Let's take this moment actually to be present, to get in the moment. Let's take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And we'll do another deep breath in, taking in the rest and calm that we need for Shabbat. And exhale whatever it is that we want to leave behind in this past week. We are going to get started with a poem before we start our beginning nigun. Can we move to the next slide? Thank you. Listen, dear self. Remember to breathe. Remember to fill your chest with the sweet taste of living. To fill your heart with a gentle gift of peace. The breath of God surrounds you. Let it flow through you. The pulse of the universe beats with you. Let it enliven you. Invite your exhale. The willingness of this moment. Release your exhale and surrender to being. Fill your lungs. Feel them. Feed them. Heal them. And you will know the majesty of now and the mystery of forever. Yada da yada da da da. Yada da 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 yada da da da. If I could ask for one of our virtual members of our community to share the reading on the screen. Let's see, who is going to read for us?
I'd be happy to do it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sonia.
As we enter this sacred time of Shabbat, may Adonai help us put aside our stresses of daily life and absorb the calm of this holy moment. As Shabbat begins, may Adonai revive our ability to feel the infinite potential this ceasing affords us to regather our scattered selves. In the hollowed space Shabbat creates, may Adonai refresh our connections to our loved ones and community, expanding the threads which bind us together.
Amen. Thank you. For those who are online, if you would like to light your Shabbat candles with us, we encourage you to do so. And for those who are here in person with us, I hope that you will say the blessing with me. We're on page 120. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. We continue welcoming Shabbat in with a psalm. We will be sharing words from Psalm 29. The words are Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. May Adonai grant strength to God's people, and may Adonai bestow upon us well-being. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. We're on page 137. I realize I forgot that. We're going to try that again. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo. turn the page to welcome our Shabbat bride on page 138. Lecha dodi, lecha tala, b'nei Shabbat, v'kavela. Lecha dodi, lecha tala, b'nei Shabbat, v'kavela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, yishmi'anu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'litehila. Lecha dodi, lecha tala, b'nei Shabbat, v'kavela. Lecha dodi, lecha tala, b'nei Shabbat, v'kavela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Yihi makor ha'beracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, v'kavela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, v'kavela. Please rise in all the ways that you're able. Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'b'zohala, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, boi chala. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, v'kavela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, v'kavela. Please remain standing as we continue with the words of Baruch Hu on page 146. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. Please be seated. We're on page 148. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Boreyom v'layla, golelur mipnei choshech, golelur mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Boreyom v'layla, golelur mipnei choshech, golelur mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Can we go back a slide? Dear heart, the world needs to be different, but it can't be different if you aren't. Tend to and be tender with your differences. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We are on page 152. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Hashem kevod malchuto leolam vaed. Baruch Hashem kevod malchuto leolam vaed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'aderech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtabtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. It's my pleasure to invite Michelle Eisenbrock to share a reading with us.
Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
We're going to learn a new melody for Micha Mocha. And so we're going to start off with a nigun, and hopefully it begins to feel familiar as we sing. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. That's a whole nigun. Let's try that again. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osei pele, nora tehilot osei pele. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Ya la la turn to page 161. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. And in your presence our acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai haborei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai haborei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Baruch atah Adonai haborei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. More than the Jewish people has kept Shabbat. Shabbat has kept the Jewish people. And oh, how grateful we are to be kept in rest. We are on page 162 with the words of Vishamru. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat לעשות et HaShabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום את השביעי שבת ויהי נפש ביני ובין בני ישראל We now come to our tefillah, our amidah, the core part of our service. We will spend this time saying both prayers of our ancestors and the prayers that are at the core of our being, whatever needs to be said. We rise together on page 164. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevig Ula Livnei V'neihem, Le'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah Rav le'hoshia, Morid hatah. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lahachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'chol yom yehallelujah selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please take time for your own silent prayer and be seated when you are complete. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru Amen. Ve'al kol Yisrael Amen. As I walked into the grocery store the other evening, I saw pink and red balloons all around the entrance, and I thought to myself, wow, is it Valentine's Day already? Of course. As I took a moment to wade through the chaos of the week to figure out where I was in the space-time continuum, I realized these balloons weren't for Valentine's Day. It is in fact no longer February. These were for Mother's Day, which is this very weekend. Mother's Day is a time when we celebrate our moms, however we came to them. We bring them breakfast in bed, we make them cards and buy them flowers, we call them to say that we love them, and we make their favorite meal for dinner. We do all of these things and more as a token of our love and as a sign of gratitude for all that they have given us. How fitting that in this week's Torah portion we read the following verse. Ish imo ve'aviv tira'u ve'et shabdotai tishmoru ani Adonai Elohechem. Your mother and your father you shall revere, and my Sabbaths you shall keep. I, Adonai, am your God. The word tira'u, which we have translated as you shall revere, comes from the root yud resh aleph, yara, meaning fear or awe. Whether from personal experience or from encountering those we love become parents, we know that motherhood is not made for the faint of heart. It is an experience often filled with all-consuming fear and awe. Awe as one sees how much their child has grown since last year, last month, last week, even yesterday. Awe that they are still somehow going, still doing their best, still sustaining the life of another human. Fear as a child's temperature runs a bit higher than one would like. Fear as our child runs toward the street before we can catch their hand. Fear as our world becomes a harder place for them. In return for the fear and awe that our mothers have for us, Leviticus chapter 19, verse 3 tells us that we are commanded to have awe and reverence for them. It is truly the least we can offer. We also see further in this week's reading, Leviticus chapter 20, verse 9, which states, if anyone insults or treats with contempt either father or mother, that person shall be put to death. The way that we treat parents is of the utmost importance, life or death. And our Parsha tells us that the way we treat them is not only a matter for the home, it is a matter to be addressed in society. Only a few days ago, a leaked Supreme Court draft showed that there is a majority opinion written to overturn the Roe v. Wade decision made nearly 50 years ago, and with it, the protections for reproductive health care and privacy will disappear in much of our country. There is so much to say about this, about how many of us were afraid of this very thing happening, about how Judaism not only allows for pregnancy termination, but in some cases requires it, about how it is actually none of anybody's business why someone makes a decision about any health decision for themselves, about how hard it is to find hope in this fight. But this week, I want to highlight the questions our Torah portion begs us to answer. What does it mean to have fear and awe and reverence for parents? What does it look like to avoid contempt or insulting them? What does it look like for our society to address the ways that we treat parents? In an article entitled, "Because of Choice, I Got to Choose You," written in 2019 by Hannah Ellenson, Hannah tells the story of her pregnancy. Early in her pregnancy, there were signs of a growth on the back of what was to become the neck of the embryo. In most cases, this would have been the beginning signs of severe developmental or systemic challenges. In fact, her doctors had only seen one other case where tests led to the contrary. Her doctor took as many tests for the various diseases as she could, and Ellenson was told to prepare herself to consider terminating if the tests came back positive. Hannah Ellenson and her partner chose to wait full 2 months, the full 2 months it took for all of the results to come in, and miraculously, one by one, they came back normal. I want to read Hannah Ellenson's own powerful words to her son, who she later named Shai, a Hebrew name meaning gift. Quote, "Not all stories turn out the way ours did. I'm telling you all of this now because at the same time that you've reached this half birthday, exactly 1 year after we thought you might not have been born, politicians across the country are passing laws that could have ended your story right then and there. As we went through this nightmare, I was continually grateful to know that I could choose what to do at any point. We could make a decision, and it didn't have to be rushed. We could wait for the test results. Doctors discussed options with us. If I didn't have the medical care I did, I'm not sure what I would have done. While I'd love to think that I'd have waited for the test results, I don't know that I would have. I read that the vast majority of cases where a cystic hygroma is detected are aborted soon after the diagnosis. The whole ordeal and the care I received made me more pro-choice, not less. Shai, you were and are so wanted. I'm grateful every day that I got to choose you. I want the world where you grow up to be full of choice. As you mature, you'll have countless decisions to make. I hope that you eventually find a partner whom you love and who loves you back, and that you one day do decide to have a family. But should you find yourself in a situation that's not good for you, a partner has become pregnant by accident, or it's not the right time, or you find out that a little tiny embryo is not healthy, I want you to be able to make the decision that's right for you. Pregnancy is difficult enough as it is due to the physical and emotional challenges. I can't imagine what it would have been like to carry a baby to term if I had known they would suffer greatly during their short life. Deciding to have a baby is a huge leap of faith and one not to be taken lightly. Every person should have the opportunity to decide for themselves if and when they want to be a parent. I want every parent to experience the joy of choosing to have a child, as I have with you. I love you with all my being." End quote. For a story that many could use as an allegory for the evils of abortion, Hannah Ellenson interprets her experience differently. She wanted nothing more than to bring this life that became shy into the world. But she did not want to bring life that was short and full of pain and suffering. She was able to wait to make a decision that was right for her and for the fetus that became her son, because abortion was legal and because she had time to wait for the results to come back. In a time filled with fear as she waited for the results and awe as they conveyed good news, she was treated with reverence by her partner, her doctor, and by the laws that allowed her to make the choice that was wanted and also that was needed. People terminate pregnancies for countless reasons, and as I mentioned before, it is actually none of our business why they make the decision they do. That being said, because so many have bravely shared their stories with us, we must learn from them. We must take to heart that each story is different, and each pregnant person has a world of context that they take into consideration when they make health choices, including reproductive health choices. We must take to heart that just as parenthood isn't always easy, lighthearted, or comfortable, neither is the decision nor the process of ending a pregnancy. We must understand that the world is not divided into the abortion havers and the people with children, but rather there are many who have both. And we must understand that with different people and different contexts come different decisions, each of which deserves honor, awe, and reverence. When we say that we should treat mothers and parents with yera, with fear, awe, and reverence, we must extend this to include those who are making decisions about potentially bringing or not bringing life into this world. This means trusting mothers and parents when they make a decision. This means providing them with the policies and resources and time to make the most ideal decision for them. This means supporting those who pursue motherhood through birth after they leave the hospital. This means not making people feel like every few months they have no choice but to share their deeply personal and sometimes traumatic story in the hopes of keeping reproductive rights safe for others in the future. To mothers and birth parents of all genders around the country, thank you. Thank you for the love and care and fear and awe that you have dedicated to us all of these years. You deserve the honor, awe, and reverence in return that the Torah tells us you do. We love you. To those who have made the decision to not bring a life into this world, you deserve honor, awe, and reverence for this too. We love you too. While our tradition does include the commandment to be fruitful and multiply, we must fight for the right of each mother and each parent in all parts of the country to decide if and how they will choose to bring life into this world. To show our reverence for them, we can and will continue to fight, to advocate, to educate, to donate. Choosing anything else would be an insult. Kain Yehirat Zon. May this be God's will. With this Torah on our minds and hearts, we turn to page 371 for the words of Misha Beirach. We think of those who are in need of healing of body, healing of spirit, and healing of soul. If you are thinking of someone who's in need of any kind of healing and you are online, please feel free to type their name in the chat or to say their name to someone else in the room with you. And for those who are in person, please feel free to share their name aloud or in your heart as my hand passes over your section.
My mother, Sherry King, and Honus Stephen Alexander.
Audrey Grower. Jackie Baisley.
We'll pause a moment as people finish typing. For all those names that we've said aloud and those that we keep in our hearts, we offer them this Misha Beirach prayer. Misha Beirach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Beirach bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. It's my pleasure to invite Rabbi Avi Shulman to share with us this prayer for the caregivers in our lives.
God of health and healing, bless our family and friends who have taken on the sacred task of giving care and comfort to their loved ones, committing their time, energy, and physical labor to the well-being of dear ones. At a time of immeasurable need, grant them wisdom and skill, compassion and dedication, energy and endurance as time passes and tasks increase. Remind them to care for themselves and to nourish their own bodies and souls, so easily forgotten in this time of need. Source and shelter, rock of life, bless all who dedicate themselves to the care of others and bring lasting health and healing to all in need. Amen.
Amen. We turn to Aleinu on page 586. Please rise in all the ways that you are able. Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד. Please be seated. We take this moment to think of those who were in our lives. On this Shabbat, we remember those whose yahrzeits occurred this past week. Please rise as your loved one's name is read. Jordana Aliza, sister of Janice Fantino. Felice Fendel, mother of Jack Fendel. Elliot Lewis, father of Karen Bressler. Esther Macauer, mother of David Macauer. Eva Nagel, remembered by Barbara Nagel. Herbert Zero, father of Marla Zero. We now invite all who are observing their first year of mourning to rise at this time. And now we rise as a community with our mourners for the words of the Mourner's Kaddish. On page 598. Yitzkadal v'yitzkadash shmei Rabba, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabba min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. Zichronam livracha, may all of their memories be for a blessing, to which we say, Amen. Please be seated. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. It is now time for our announcements, and it is my pleasure to invite up to the virtual bima Gwen Karskaden to share with us the good news of what's going on.
Awesome. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Okay, end of life planning. I guess we're starting with that. Is something we will each have to do, whether for ourselves or our loved ones. How do we make these plans in a way that reflect our values and the legacy we want to leave behind? Join us for Death and Taxes, Planning for the Inevitable, a multi-access expert panel and bagel lunch event on Sunday, May 15th at 10 a.m. We will explore the different spiritual and practical lenses through which we can look at the end of life planning. Have you participated yet? In celebration of our 60th anniversary, Temple Beth Torah is creating a collaborative community poem, Memories and Dreams. Materials and instructions are available at in-person events, and you can contribute using the online form as well. No prior writing experience is necessary. The finished product will be shared at the 60th anniversary Rockin' Shabbat on Friday, June 24th. We are also looking for contributions of items to be included in our silent auction, as well as sponsors for the printed program and gala. The animated film Charlotte, an account of German Jewish artist Charlotte Solomon's coming of age during World War II, is showing at Three Below Theater in San Jose this weekend. It stars the voices of Keira Knightley and Marion Cotillard. Join us at Shabbat services on May 20th, which will be co-led by student Rabbi Ari Yovo. As they complete their internship, we will celebrate student Rabbi Ari's time with us and wish them well on the next stages of their journey. What do you think it was like to be at Mount Sinai? Join us in June for 2 special Shavuot programs. On Saturday, June 4th at 7:30 p.m., we will be hosting our annual joint celebration of Shavuot with Congregation Beth Emek of Pleasanton. Rabbi Zoe will lead the service, which will be followed by the always lively Shavuot text study. Then on Sunday, June 5th at noon, we will be having the Shavuot edition of Soulful Storytime with a special ice cream social to follow. It will be an afternoon to remember, filled with stories, craft, friends, and ice cream. There will also be an online Shavuot Yizkor service at 10:30 a.m. on Sunday. Thank you to Susan Amaro and Michelle Eisenbrook for representing the worship committee, and Cindy and Sam Monroe for the IV support and sharing slides. And that's it.
And thank you, Gwen, for being our board rep this evening.
Welcome.
Oh, yes, and thank you, Anne, for also repping the worship committee. We have such an amazing community of people who are willing to get all hands on deck, and it's just such a joy. So thank you to everyone who helps out. And as just my own 10 cents, it's a little more than 2. I hope that you will all sign up for Death and Taxes, Planning for the Inevitable. I hope that you hear the tongue-in-cheekness. We're not trying to actually be that depressing. There is no right age to start talking about these things, but what we can say is that when we start talking about these conversations sooner rather than later, and when we look through each of the different lenses through which our panelists will speak, we are much better equipped to have to carry out the steps in the end when we have the planning beforehand and when we don't put it on other people to plan for us. So please, 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 I hope that you will sign up. It will be a great learning opportunity and a great opportunity to eat some bagels. So now we will take this time to say a family blessing. For those who are not in the same room with the person or people they'd like to send this blessing to, I encourage you to close your eyes and to hold their image in your heart. And for those who are in the same space with their family, however you define it, I encourage you to reach out to them. May God bless you and keep you. May God shine God's face upon you and be gracious to you. May God's face turn to you and grant you peace, to which we say, Amen. Amen. And now for the Kiddush and then Motzi. The words can be found on page 123. And if you are on Zoom, this is a great opportunity. You have approximately 2 seconds to go grab your sweet beverage. And the 2 seconds are up. We are on page 123. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'atzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim ve'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim. And just as a reminder for those in person, the Kiddush cups are compostable, so make sure that they go in the right spot. As are the challah things. Cups. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon. We will conclude our service this evening with another prayer for peace. You can never have too many of them. But first, there we go. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And Shabbat Shalom to everyone in our Zoom community. We're so glad that you were here.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Zoomers.
I love the spider mic.
Yes.
He's
I feel like you
simply
should say CBS over it. Boom.
See who's up. There's Sue.
Oh, yeah. Happy Mother's Day to my friends.
Happy Mother's Day to you.
Yeah. Happy Mother's Day.
Jack.
All right.